I'm telling you, this is all a misunderstanding. If I could only speak to King Oliver, he would understand. This is all truly so utterly unnecessary. Oh, what mess have I gone and gotten myself into?
A grievous one, I fear.
Hello? Who's there?
Another guest of the noble King Oliver Ironwood, the Blood Royal, Lord of the Stoneway and Master of the Green Hills. Oh, and he would have you believe he was a High King of Dorne as well. The Ironwoods are a humble lot.
I see. And how did you come to find yourself his guest?
These Ironwoods are never satisfied, friend. They're always adding titles to their titles, as though they're hoping to build a tower out of them. As though that would be as fine a thing as Starfall. Their claim that they are, in fact, the sole and rightful kings of all Dorne has, as you might guess, caused some problems with their neighbours.
I could gather something of the sort from my time in the Stormlands. I knew King Oliver had been waging campaigns in the marches against King Eric, but I thought I had chosen the, off-season for my travel, as it were.
War is season unending. That is how you know it to be unnatural, and the work of men.
Do I take it you are a prisoner of war, then?
A captive of convenience. I was assigned to watch at Russet Heights, as was my charge. Ironwood men grabbed us in the night, I am ashamed to say. My comrades were all interrogated, and then put to work as frows. I alone remain, because I am worth some ransom, threat, or bargain.
Oh, you are highborn, then?
We don't tend to use that term so much, but yes, as you would put it, Orland Brook, at your service.
I'm Hagen of yore.
Well met for what it's worth. It's good to meet a man who at least speaks a civilized tongue, not like that foreigner over there.
Who is he?
He's one of those sea people, from the sound of his tongue and the look of his face. He was deathly pale before he was brought below.
The sea people?
You don't have them in the Stormlands, then? Well, you may soon. They've been gathering in the jungle to the far east.
I was only passing through those parts before travelling south, though that seems to have been enough to earn King Oliver's ire.
Yes. No doubt he'll think you a spy come to spot his defences on behalf of those northern kings.
A spy? I'm training to be a Grey Master. We do not spy for kings.
A grey what now?
A grey wizard, a wanderer.
Oh, you're a sorcerer. Well, that'll do it.
No, oh, never mind. I came to Dorne to learn of its peoples, not to cast spells or earn the ire of kings, but now I fear that
you've seen the light of the stars for the last time? That you'll never listen to the rush of the river or feel the wind on your face?
Well, yes, among other things. I never expected it to end like this.
I think of home. Keeps him from the worst, at least. In truth, Hagen of yore, in a way you were fortunate to choose the Stoneway to journey southwards.
Fortunate? Oh, I struggle to see how.
Had you attempted to walk through the wide way, the foul archers might well have feathered your robes from nests you never glimpsed. Should you have chosen Blackmont, the Vulture Queen might well have stolen you from your camp in the night, bound you to a great rock on the mountainside, and left you for her pets to devour. Mayhap she would have had her way with you whilst they feasted.
Are these rulers of the Red Mountains truly so monstrous? I had assumed Lord Manderley was exaggerating when he spoke of such.
Some are definitely worse than others, no doubt. But Inessa Blackmont is known to have spent her maiden years spilling blood in the hills to the north. And I don't know who perches at Skyreach of late, but those hawks are always watching, and when you sit so high, everything begins to look like prey.
I see. You are a man of Dorne, I take it, though clearly no friend to Ironwood or any of his peers in these mountains. From where precisely do you hail? I had not heard of the Russet Heights.
And you are not. That is plain, or you would not ask such questions.
Forgive my ignorance, Orlin, but if it means anything, I came to Dorne to expand my knowledge. I hail from Yor, a town far away, and no doubt beyond the ken of any south of the Red Mountains, but I was chosen to serve a purpose. I learn as I travel, and by speaking with and listening to the peoples of every realm. I meant to do the same here, until our present circumstances.
Curious. I confess, in the Green Kingdom we are less concerned about the other peoples of the world.
The Green Kingdom? Would that be connected to the Greenblood River by any chance?
Ah, the sorcerer has conjured that much from his great pockets, Yes, my strange friend, the Greenblood is all that is good in Dorne. The river carries the life-giving soil from the headwaters and makes its banks more fertile than any other land. In those great harvests, all of our people can be fed. Almost all of the landed families have built their strongholds along this great river. Briar of the Bramble, Brook of Old Glory, Santon, Hull. The Holts dwell in the high hills for one season, but return to the river for the next. It is very apt to say the river is the lifeblood of this land.
I see. I've encountered rivers of import before in the Riverlands. Many make their livelihoods from catching trout and salmon from the Three Forks, or merely transporting goods or people up and down their length. And the same can be said of the Mander and the Honey Wine, and even the White Knife serves that role in the north. But you say here that the river actually makes the ground fertile?
Beyond the dreams of any. It is a blessed thing, Hagen of Yore, and that is why we defend her so fiercely. Oliver Ironwood has his sun-baked trees and his ugly pits from which he draws weapons of war, but I think he knows that in his heart that Willem Wade is the only man who can truly claim to be the High King of all Dorne.
Willem Wade? I take it he and his forebears are the kings of the Greenblood.
Willem Wade is a good, learned and godly king, and other Wades have come before him, but they are not alone in that. Many of my own brooks have sat the green seats, but so too have shells and lakes, even brown hills and brines from the salt shore.
I see, so many houses have battled for the kingship.
You have spent too much time among savages, I think, Hagen. Mayhaps that is how Ironwood wishes to take the Green Kingdom, but we need no such pointless bloodshed. Life is precious to the true men, Hagen, as it has been since we first crossed the Arm of Dorne in the elder days, and built our first keep in this new land. On the Greenblood, when one king dies, we select a new one from among the landed, should we have a need, that is.
Should there be a need? You mean when there isn't an obvious candidate?
More in the manner of when there is an obvious need for a king at all.
I don't follow.
When the Ironwood kings come for blood, a king is no poor thing. He is a single will of Dorne, chosen by every family. Under a single banner we may better defend our own, but there is not always war, and not always a need. We do not need a king to tell us when the river will flood, and how much grain and barley to put aside to keep until next time. Should the food need to be shared, we don't need a king to share it out. Disputes can be solved in common, and we do not need a king to resolve them.
How curious. You know, it reminds me faintly of the Ironborn way of it. Though rather than having a dozen kings at all times, and only one chosen from among them to rule them all, you feel no need to have more than one, and not even all of the time. I think I would like to see such for myself.
So would I, were it not for our current position. I could show you the Ghost River and the Withered Lake, where once another river ran into the Greenblood before the land dried. Lady Leanne is quite the woman, and I find it rather breathtaking to see the power of a river, even one that is long away. Well, it appears we have woken the foreigner. I'd tell you to watch what you say, Hagen of Yore, but I'm fairly certain he understands our tongue no more than I can grasp his.
Mesicorde velar, est si umbagen ren ibegen.
I had not thought the stranger was well known for his mercy.
You speak his tongue? Are you one of those sea people after all?
Yes, and no, I did not realise our friend here was an Andal.
A what?
An Andal! They hail from the lands of Andalos across the narrow sea. I encountered a good many of their ilk in Mountain and Vale, and some in the Riverlands.
A heathen who speaks my tongue. Truly, The seven send strange gifts. Who are you?
Oh, just a moment. I need to recall the words. Hagen of Yor, this is Orlinbrook. Prisoners, like yourself. Who would you be?
Sir Arlene Jourdain.
What is he saying?
He is telling me that he is an anointed knight, and by extension, what you would call a man of honour.
An easy claim to make, and a difficult one to believe, especially from a man in a cell.
As we are? An honour to meet a knight, and an unexpected one, sir. Whom do you serve, if I might ask?
You have nice manners for a native. But before I answer your question, I would know, how does a man of the Western lands learn to speak my tongue, even passing well enough?
I travelled with a sceptre named Clarence for a number of weeks, and stayed with a number of Andal knights and lords in Mountain and Vale, far to the north of here.
Impressive. Very well then. I am sworn to no one, as of this moment. But I joined my ships to Simeon Santagar when we left the beleaguered city. If anyone has my allegiance, it is him.
Hagen, did you say Santagar?
You know the name?
Aye, he's the leader of those sea people who landed near the mouth of the Greenblood. They're hiding in the jungles, though we have yet to know why.
My friend here seems to think Santagar has some ill intent towards his people.
I cannot blame him. If my own people had been more wary of the folk of Valyria, we might not have arrived on these shores in such circumstances.
Valyria, you say?
Oh yes, Agin. We had lived among them in the Roinar for centuries. We learned from each other, dwelled in the same towns, worked on each other's lands, but no longer.
When I was walking through the mountains, Sept Clarence told me that it was not his people, those he termed the First Men, needed to fear. He spoke of the fires of Valyria and evil sorceries beyond the ken of any in the west. But to him they seemed a threat that had yet to fall on the Andals across the narrow sea.
The Andals do not live all in one small realm or kingdom, Agin of Yor. We came from the axe, they say, in the oldest days, but ever since we have been wanderers and explorers at art. We moved first to the Velvet Hills, this is true, but in the centuries that followed, we spread ourselves all along the western coasts, moving ever southward until we came to the endless summer sea. We have not shared a single king since the days of Hako, at least not very long. Not since he slew the Swan Maidens as sacrifice to the Seven.
Hugo? I have heard Hugor of the Hill was the first king of the Andals in Andalos.
Mayhaps that is what the Andals of Andalos call him now. I could not say. We have dwelt in many realms and many kingdoms since then, lived alongside other folks. Sometimes other Andals can seem as foreign as the Roinar, though we still share a tongue and gods.
Ask him why he's in here, wizard. We might learn something useful, should we ever escape.
May I ask, good sir, what cause King Oliver had to place you in his dungeons?
I gave him no cause, yet he found one regardless. I offered him my swords, my aid, even my fealty, should he find cause to give me lands in the northern lands he conquered. He agreed to treat with me on a barren island north of here, but a trap was laid, and I was enough of a fool to step into the snare.
It appears he was seized without cause as well. After what befell the two of us, I am inclined to believe him.
Then ask him why he's being taken from his cell and returns to us bloody. For me, they will wish to know the defences of Brittle Bush and Old Glory. How many men wait in the hills, and the temperaments of the landed families. That will tell us enough.
Our friend asks why they are questioning you so sharply.
Every day it is the same. From where did you sail? How many are you? Will more come? When? What weapons do you have? What strategies do my people employ? I am not as forthcoming as they wish, I think, but their methods of persuasion have become more insistent. I am thinking it would be best to depart before long. Would you not agree?
That would no doubt be a fine thing, but even if we managed to somehow escape this dank pit, where would we flee beyond King Oliver's reach?
Ask your native friend. My ships are taken. My friends are far afield.
Master Brooke, Sir Alan asks, where would be best for us to flee, should we manage an escape?
Lower your voice, Hagen. I would say we go south.
South?
Try searching for the North Star and walking backwards. Yes, Hagen, I mean south. Even if we were to find some god's gift to help us out of this hell, they would be expecting the Fallen Eye to make east to try and make the Greenblood before rafting downriver. We can buy time if we head into the deserts.
Surely we would perish! Why not head west then and make for the Torrentine? Even in Old Town we knew of the Danes' fearsome for a certainty, but honourable. Surely if we seek his hospitality he would not turn us away if we had aught to offer him.
Fowler's domain still lies between us and the woods and hills of the Torrentine Valley, and the King of Stone and Sky is not likely to let us pass freely. At best, his men will take us for questioning, and he has more reason to sell us to Ironwood to protect his borders than he has to hasten us on our way. Yes, the desert is perilous, aye, but we know the clans and tribes of that land better than Ironwood. They have hidden wells and even homes, and I have a good mind of how to spot them.
I know nothing of these peoples. Are they like to give us better treatment than the kings of the mountains?
A mountain can be climbed and ladders laid down, but no man has the power to make the desert bloom. Those who worship the earth and the metals which it gives think only of violence. The desert clans believe the sun to be the only god of their lands worth the minding, and they live their lives around his power rather than moulding it into the shapes to best suit them. They respect the fragility and the precious nature of life, and in this way they are akin to us on the Greenblood. In fact, many of our storytellers hold that we were once one kingdom, before the brimstone soured and the ground dried and turned to sand.
So there are no kings there?
There is one, though whether we would see him I cannot say. If one endures the ravages of the desert, sorcerer, it is said that you will find yourself standing at the gates of Hellgate Hole.
Oh, you cannot be serious.
I'm rarely entirely serious, Hagen of yore, but I am now. Along the bubbling brimstone river, high on a hill, surrounded by a moat of shimmering air as hot as a naked flame, stands the keep of King Lucifer Dryland, fifth of his name as I recall. He is a queer fellow, but you would be queer as well if you drank such sulphurous water every day. You know the borders of his lands by signs carved on desert rocks, a black sun set on red.
You are suggesting we forsake the dungeons of King Oliver to make for hell itself?
I'd sooner walk through hell than wait on his lordship's pleasure any longer.
My apologies for interrupting, Andal friend, but mayhaps you might illuminate the words of our acquaintance.
Right. Good. I suppose that settles the matter. Orlin seems to know a place we can go, though I fear it will be a perilous path.
Then may the warrior give us courage, and if that fails, may the Father judge us justly.
You understand, Sir Arlen, that this is all rather hypothetical, unless we find some manner to free ourselves from these cells.
What in the name of the gods of Dorne?
How on earth did you get hold of those?
During my last interrogation. In truth, this Mountain King's men are more the way of brutes than turnkeys. They lack the dexterity. I snatched this key while I feigned fainting after the last questioning.
And he didn't think to mention this before.
You can tell our friend I needed to know if you were a man of honor, and that you would not sell me to this king in hope of swift release or fairer treatment. I am satisfied by your explanations, Hagen of yore, and your friend seems to know what he is about at least. Well then, are you coming?
As it happens, I was not destined to die in our daring flight from King Oliver, nor did I perish of thirst in the great deserts that lay in the very heart of Dorne. As it happened, I did in fact dine with the Lord of Hellgate Hall, took a barge down the length of the Greenblood, and even attended prayers with Simeon Santagar before I finally took my leave of Dorne and made for home in Old Town. It was on the voyage home that I reflected on all of my journeys, mishaps and adventures, and in my own mind tried to fit together all the different peoples, kingdoms and conflicts I had seen. It was clear to me that the realms of men were on the brink of some fundamental changes, and in my heart I felt that when the tide finally receded, the lands that remained would be entirely different to how they were before the Andals took to their ships and made their way across the narrow sea. It is the duty of the Order of Peremore to gather knowledge, understanding, and to ensure that such things are not forgotten in the ravages of history. For myself, Master Ethelmund, and others who dedicate our lives to the Lord of Men, it is no different. But while it is our place to remember the past, it is not our lot to chart the unknowable future. The days to come are in the hands of others, from the wall to the broken arm. It rests on the thrones of kings, in the halls of lords, and in the sword belts of bold knights. It can be heard in the songs of the septons, and in the quiet places where the rustling of leaves holds sway. My part in this story has been a small one, and it is not for me to tell it all.